Code of conduct.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown. I put in extra work that just can't be found. I took the sword out the stone, wasn't a thing. Look me in my eyes cause I'm a king. Look me in my eyes cause I'm a king. God made me punch in accurate numbers. My castle won't crumble. What I tackle will fumble. I've been a leader when they ain't see it, but now my feet is up. According to me, royalty didn't end with King Tut. Crown on my head, clouds is at my legs. Big says sky is the limit. I look down on the ledge. I push the bar like I'm opening a cell. Hands in my cookie jar, you won't come out with a single nail. I need all of mine. The weight of my shoulders won't fit on a scale. What's a king to a giant? Well, Goliath fell. Even if we playin' chess, dog, this king can't be checked. I make all my moves on the board, I invented my steps. I'm a king, the blood of a ruler, I feel like Mansa Musa. Make your squad disappear like landing by the Bermuda. Triangle, look at it from my angle. I'm a king, the closest thing to being one of God's angels. I'm a king. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. I put in extra work that just can't be found. I took the sword out the stone, wasn't a thing. Look me in my eyes cause I'm a king. Look me in my eyes cause I'm a king.
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. This is the Code of Conduct with the King podcast. I am your host, JSpenceTheKing. And man, I'm back and I'm excited. I got a good show lined up for y'all today. It is draft week. And I'm amped about it. I'm amped for a couple reasons, but I'm amped because it's draft week. First things first. We're going to talk a little bit before we get into the actual mock draft. I got my man Sterling coming in. We're going to talk a little bit about, I want to talk a little bit about like the way Bills Mafia is doing this whole, we need this running back, 25th overall pick, round one. I want to talk about it. I want to talk a little bit about how y'all should never compare KD to somebody like Kobe. I'm going to talk about that. That's why I'm rocking my Black Mamba jersey today, because that boy KD, first, we ain't gonna talk too much basketball. You know what? I'm gonna bring because obviously that's how excited I am. I'm gonna bring my man Sterls in. What up, Sterls? My dog Sterls for the girls in the building.
Hey, what's good, man? Hey, KD ain't got nothing on Kobe, man. He ain't got nothing on Kobe, dog.
He ain't got nothing on Kobe. Not a thing. Not a thing. He ain't got nothing on my boy Bron. If I'm gonna keep it, like here's the thing that I get upset about. People talk about LeBron like he's I get the comparisons to Jordan. And so I get like why people say there's a shortcoming, like he's not Jordan, right? But if you take Jordan out of the equation and you compare LeBron to any other player in NBA history by any metric, he's pretty much just like the most complete basketball player of all time. Like he's going to end his career with a career triple-double. Think about that. Like he's probably going to lead the league in scoring by the time he retires. 10K rebounds, 10K assists. Come on, man. Anyway, we don't got to go there. Let's talk a little before. Welcome to the Code of Conduct, man. What's going on with you?
Hey, man, it's been a long time since I've been on the Code of Conduct, man. It's been a long time. Yeah.
No, man, you was on in like January.
That's a long time. That's a long time.
Okay. All right. I'll take that. I don't agree that it's long because I feel like, you know what I mean? I took time off. I took like 2 months off. So if you take the time away that I took off, it's really like you ain't been on in like a month.
But I mean, you know, just with everything that's transpired recently, you know, it's a long time, man. You my guy. So, you know, it's not just a pod, you know, it's life too, man. You know, we chop it up in real life, but you know.
We do. And speaking of the chop up, there are some changes being made. And I want to give you the chance to let everybody know what those changes are.
Well, as you guys know, I've been doing some work over at Cover One for the past year and a half, 2 years or so. And I've decided to join Buffalo Rumblings. So I will have a show on Sunday morning. So right after the draft Sunday morning, this coming Sunday, you'll be able to catch me. We're gonna talk about all kinds of stuff, man. Bills football. We're gonna recap this draft, though, is what we're gonna do. But I got you locked till then. And then, when the season starts, I'll still be on Sunday morning. So The guys over at Buffalo Rumblings have been very kind and gracious to me and allowed me to be part of the team. I definitely want to thank Cover One for allowing me the opportunity to be over there. But, sometimes you feel like a change is necessary. So it's just me. My Hoof guys are still over there doing their thing. Shout out to the Hoof. But I'm happy to be here, Rumblings, man.
Yeah, and shout out to Cover One. I do want to reiterate what you said there. Like, this isn't like a beef move. This ain't like, back in wrestling days when it was like, oh, you not NWO, you joining the Wolf Pack. It ain't that. Like, this is all.
Hey,
this is all love.
Though. That song slapped,
right? No, I did. It did. It did. That Wolf Pack joint went hard. But I just want everybody to know, like, Cover One and those guys are doing amazing things. Actually, I can't wait to get up with Aaron. Me and AQ supposed to get up during the draft. Like, he was like, man, forget going out to. I asked him if he was going to the Ice Cube concert. He was like, man, forget that. Let's hit a dispensary. Yes, you are my guy. You know my heart. Let's hit that dispensary up real quick. See what that 420 looking like out in Vegas. But ladies and gentlemen, so you heard it here first on the Code of Conduct. My man Sterling has reshifted his allegiance. I don't know, because I'm it's still the Bills. But you've reshifted your allegiance from Cover One over to Buffalo Rumblings, which I happen to think happens to be the best network in Buffalo Bills content creation. And listen, the chop up is coming back. The chop up is coming back. I wanted to get it in this weekend, but this weekend, is still somewhat draft, and I don't think I'm going to be back in time to really be ready for it. But Saturday nights, weekly, 9 p.m., JSpenceTheKing, Sterls for the girls. We still going to have the ladies on, but Sterling is a part of the network now, so the branding is going to be like this. We're going to get it in. We're going to get it going. Welcome to the team, Sterls.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me, dude. I appreciate it. I'm happy.
Yeah. Welcome to the team, man. This is awesome. So what I'm going to do is I know I said we're going to talk a little about the running back that the Bills fans want taken in the first round. I think instead of just jumping right into that, I think we should jump right into what we were going to do. Like, so this draft that we got going on, I want to bring in my other guys. I'll start with my man, Rick. My guy, Rick here. He is a Cowboys fan. Everybody have some, just go easy on him here. But I got my guy, Rick here. I got, how do I want to explain this? I've always introduced you like I met him at a dog park, and I don't know if that's the right way to do it, but Rick is my guy. He lives out here in Arizona with me, and that is how we met. We met at a dog park, and ever since we've become like brothers. He's my guy. Welcome to the show, Rick. What's going on with you?
Hello, Spence. Good to be back.
Yeah,
I feel like Sterling. It's been a while.
It has been a while. The difference with Sterling though is that he has a show. Yeah. If you had a show, I think we would probably do a lot more work together, just because of the fact that like it's different teams and we would bounce ideas off each other. And then when I bring in Bryce, we could have a fantasy show. We could talk fantasy all day.
Oh yeah, all day. I mean, we do talk fantasy all day. Let's be real. We got our group chat going that just is all things football all day.
If people saw, like, I know sometimes people feel like it's fake, like these guys, they're on here talking football, but no, like we literally live, breathe, eat, sleep, drink football. We talk about football from the moment we wake up to the time we go to sleep. Time to go to sleep.
Or when some of us even fall asleep in the middle of the conversation, we just keep going. And then you have to catch up the next day.
You wake up and get right back to it. So speaking of that, let's bring in the third member of our text chat group that we have going on. My man Bryce. What is going on, Bryce?
Not a lot. I just got off work, had to rush in here, but luckily I have prepped for this for a minute now, so I'll be good to go.
All right. And so another, I guess, not so proper introduction. My man Bryce, same thing. I actually met him through Rick. So I met Rick at the dog park, and then I met Bryce through Rick. And then now Rick and Bryce have both become like very integral parts of the content that you all see on a week-to-week basis here at the Code of Conduct. And actually, they also help me out with some stuff for the Hump Day Hotline. A lot of times you see those memes on my Twitter account. Some of them are me, some of them are Bryce. And we all work together. It's a good team effort going on. So welcome to the show, Bryce. Thank y'all for doing this with me, man. This is going to be a lot of fun. So let me lay out the ground rules. So we're going to be doing a mock draft, the entire first round, 32 picks, 2 minutes per pick. When you pick this player for the team, then we are going to explain why you made this pick for this team, why you feel they would make this pick at this spot. And you can also say if you think in reality if they would have made a trade at this point. So we can kind of talk about it all. I'll be covering the Buffalo Bills. I'm Brandon Bean tonight. It's your boy JSpenceTheKing. We out here. And so when we get there, we're going to talk. That's when we'll talk about the running back. So let's get started. Bryce, do you have because I didn't think about it earlier. I would have actually cropped the image of like the order and then just posted it up here. If not, I'll just find the image of the draft order and post it. But we're going to get going. We're going to start off with the first pick of the draft. It is Rick has the first pick, I believe.
I do.
Right.
Yeah, I got the Jags as the first pick of the draft, and I know there's been a lot of turmoil and kind of back and forth with them today in terms of what they're going to do. I actually have them going with Aiden Hutchinson, the defensive end out of Michigan. I think he's probably going to be the best player for their fit. They have, Doug Peterson coming in with the new scheme and everything. I know there's a bit of rumors in terms of conflict between the upper management where the GM wants to go with Hutchinson. The owner wants to go with the other defensive end. I honestly just think in terms of scheme and all around athleticism, Hutchinson is going to be their best bet.
Okay. And we'll go around a little bit here. Bryce, how do you feel about that pick for the Jags?
I like the pick, but considering what Trent Balk has done in the past and how he has had some different opinions, like what he kind of did in San Francisco with Solomon Thomas, I still think right now that with the betting favorite being Trevon Walker, that it should very possibly be him, even though it does seem weird that a guy went from he's either going to go first overall or he might fall to like 8 or 10. That's usually not something we see in a draft, but with this class, it's very unique in that sense. Of your top guys aren't so much there. So you have a whole lot of guys who would be going like at best 5th, for example, in any other year. So that's why there's such a wide variance for when you have someone where it's like, oh, Trevor Walker very much could be similar to Hutchinson, but guess what? Also, Walker might not go till 11. When's another year that we've ever had a first-round pick that also might fall out of the top 10?
All right. Sterling, what do you think about the pick?
Oh, man. So Aiden Hutchinson's my guy. He's a University of Michigan guy. So, I'm always, pumping my chest for those dudes. But he's the best. I think he's the best pass rusher in this draft. I wouldn't say he has the most upside in terms of just sheer ability, but I think he's the safest pick. He's a guy that's going to come in. He's going to lead in the locker. He's going to do all the things right. And he's a phenomenal athlete, Now, there's some things we'll talk about from another edge player that we're going to talk about next, but I like the pick of Aiden Hutchinson, man. That's a solid pick, solid move.
Okay. So I was trying to find while you were talking too, that there was a rumor out today that there may be some adjustments to the Texans, draft preference. I was trying to find that, and I feel like Bryce threw that. Didn't you throw that in like the was it Twitter or did you throw that in our text chat?
Let's see. I ended up throwing it in our text chat.
And I just wanted your perspective on that too, because so obviously if the Texans if the Jaguars go the way that Rick thinks they're going, then obviously all the chatter is just a smokescreen. But I also want to know who was it, because for some reason it's not loading. Who was it that it was rumored that they might be connected to?
Let me pull up the name on that quick since I got the phone right here on hand. Like I said, I've been going through so many names lately on this. It's going to be someone at the top on that. Let me just quick see here. Yeah. Well, I have to talk about about Tibbs moving up. I know that they're high on a cool. Well, I know that they're also rumored to be high in this case at the corner position, and apparently that they prefer Stingley to Sauce as a possibility between the two. I know that's been a heavily connected one, but alas, there's still a lot going on for the Texans pick. I mean, especially there, and seeing where their capital is, I don't see them at least moving down from their earlier spots. So it definitely seems like they're probably a team that's probably going to be using a lot of their picks for the most part, or if anything, maybe trading down later on.
Okay. All right. Well, I think the way Rick is going with the first overall pick is the way that it's going to be, and I think that's the way to go. I think it's the like Sterling said, it's the most sure pick. It's the most it's like, okay, this is safe, but it's not safe in the sense of talent. Like you're getting talent. It's not, So I think that's where we're going. So pick number 2. Who has number 2?
I got number 2. So I'm gonna go Trayvon Walker, Georgia. So that's a school that you're gonna hear a
That's the
lot
other
of
one,
in
yeah.
this first round. Yeah, Trayvon
Mhm.
Walker's an absolute beast, and there's rumors that he could be picked first overall. Now we don't know if those are true. You always hear rumors pop out the week of the draft, and even a couple days leading up. I mean, it was only what 4 years ago when we heard Baker Mayfield all of a sudden is going to be shooting up to the number 1 overall pick, and we were just like, huh? Josh Allen went 7th, so we know how that worked out. But Trayvon Walker's the pick, man. He's a freak of nature athlete, man. He can, he runs a 4.5. I mean, not that matters everything, but his 3-cone drill was good. I mean, this is the guy that can, he can win with power. He can win with speed around the edge. He's just, like I said, again, he's just a freak of nature athlete. You can see, some of these Georgia Bulldogs here, man. So, with Detroit, I mean, their whole thing has been restocking this defensive line. You got a front office that's just really stern on getting after the quarterback. And, I think that's the way you're going to start to win games. They do need a quarterback, but I don't think there's a quarterback worthy of being selected 2nd overall this year. So I think Trayvon Walker's a good selection here.
All right, let's go around the table like we do. Bryce, what you thinking?
Honestly, Walker, while not having the necessary production, he still has a lot of pressures, and he worked with a great defensive line, so he got a chance for a lot of individual matchups. I think that he still is one of the ones that has one of the higher ceilings in the class. He's long, and for the Lions, it does make sense. I am surprised he didn't go the Tibbs route, because there's been a lot of talk about between the side-by-side between Penei Sewell of Oregon, who they took last year, who's been amazing for them at tackle, as well as Thibodeau being his across the trenches teammate at Oregon. But I still do think that's a great choice to end up going with here, because ultimately pass rush is going to be a great thing for the Lions, especially if at some point, if Jordan Love's ever going to take a snap in Green Bay, you're going to want to get those sacks in early.
Yeah. Which how you feeling about it, Rick?
I think it's a great pick. I mean, honestly, Detroit needs to find some sort of identity, and as was mentioned, the QB is a need, but at the number 2 pick, this would be just way too high for any of the QBs that are in this draft class. And so I think going with shoring up the defense and making that big move to get a defensive end that's going to have that power and that speed off the edge to get pressure onto, a Justin Fields or an Aaron Rodgers, that entire division, Kirk Cousins, it's going to benefit them in the long term. So I actually really like it.
Yeah, I think again, in the first 4 or 5 picks is one of those things where it's like you're not going to get much debate out of me about any of these picks. So I'm in agreement with all of you, and so let's keep it all moving, because again, we got 32 picks to make here. So I'm gonna go. I have the Texans, and the Texans are next. It was rough for me based on now who you guys have picked and not picked. That's the only reason why it's rough. I'm actually going to do something that I feel like a lot of Bills fans aren't going to like. I think the Texans are going to go for Sauce Gardner. I know after Deshaun Watson leaving, a lot of people think that they're probably in the market for a quarterback. I got news for you. They like the guy that they have. They like the fact that he showed. Yeah, no, he showed some things last year that everybody outside of Houston didn't pay attention to, and he showed that he is a good leader. The team loves him. They came into Buffalo and we abused David Mills, but it's okay. You expect that out of a rookie quarterback that wasn't drafted high, that wasn't this, that, and the third. They like him. They're gonna try to give him another shot. But what they are gonna do is they're gonna solidify that defense. They need to stop the other team's quarterback, and that's how do you do it any other way? Like, what's a better way to do that than either a good defensive end or drafting a guy that can stop your quarterback from throwing the ball to their best target? That's where I don't feel like as much as Bills fans want him, as much as I love him, I love everything about his tape. This video I'm watching here, I must have watched this thing like 50,000 times. I'm exaggerating, obviously, but he is just a legit piece of work. Everything that I've seen about him has just been awesome. He's good in run support. He's good at he's good at reading the quarterback. He's good at masking what he's doing. So when the quarterback thinks that he has a place to throw it, you don't. I love everything about this kid. I think this is where the Houston Texans are going to go. Let's roll it around. Let's start with Rick on this one.
I definitely agree with you. I think Davis Mills has solidified at least the opportunity to show that he can lead that team this year and be the guy at quarterback. So I don't think that they go that route. They just hired Lovie Smith as head coach. He's also going to be their defensive coordinator, and he loves his physical corners. I mean, he had Peanut Tillman in Chicago for years, and I think solidifying the defense and getting a corner that could potentially shut down their number one wide receiver, or make it extremely difficult for the quarterback to make those passes, is going to be what he looks for and what he wants in establishing an identity for his team now.
Okay, let's go Sterles.
Man, when you got a name like Sauce,
man,
right? Hey, dog, you cannot be trash if your name is Sauce. I know some trash sauces, but not in the name of this sauce that you eat. But this sauce that we're talking about right now, if I could handcraft a corner, this is the guy that I love. Tall, rangy, long, athletic corners, man. I think, in the words of the Mandalorian, this is the way. This is the way that we should view corners, man. He just offers so much, man. And one of the things that a lot of people don't talk about is this kid's his confidence in his ability. Like, he'll tell you, like, I'm the best player in the draft. Like, you love that coming from a cornerback, because you're going to be going up against the best of the best. And if you're CB1, you every week your head's going to be on a swivel, man. So, what I love about his game is that he's a willing tackler. That's one of the things that I really love. Like, so it's telling that he's going to get his hands dirty. He's excellent run fits, right? He's not the best in terms of ball skills, but I think he's adequate to good. I think he can improve there. He gets a little bit grabby in coverage at times, but I think this is an excellent pick for the Houston Texans if they were to go this route. I think he'll be there on the board at 3, and if he's there, I think the Texans should take him.
Let me ask you, so before I switch it to Bryce, the other pick that I had, depending on how Sauce fell, was, and I'm probably going to say this wrong, so I apologize in advance to whoever this offensive tackle is, but Ikanwu?
Yeah.
Or
Ikim,
you know what I'm saying?
Him. Yeah.
I thought the Texans might go that route. So let's just hypothetically say, for a curveball here, because I feel like Sterling and Rick share the same sentiment as you when it comes to Sauce. How would you feel if things fell differently in reality and they went with an offensive tackle here?
I don't think it would be.
Oh, wait, no, that's for Bryce.
Oh,
for
Bryce.
Okay, for me? All right. In that case, for me, I could understand offensive tackle on that. At the same time, considering the dearth of picks they have on the way, and considering how they're going to give a we'll see approach with Davis Mills, I could see them going OT also and trying to worry about building that back up, because after all, I mean, you saw how they paid an arm and a leg for Tunsil. And spoiler, it's been a while since then. So adding that to actually give yourself control the ball, run game, give yourself protection for the quarterback, I could see them going that as well. Now, given personally me, I'd still be going Sauce, honestly.
Yeah, for sure. Sauce is that pick. I thought, honest to God, I thought he was going to be taken prior to here. That's why I'm like, okay.
Well, remember, his film just stands out so much. He didn't give up a touchdown in his college career at all. All right, the man has great coverage. I laugh because the nickname Sauce works so perfectly, even though he got the nickname because it has nothing. That honestly, Sauce goes on everything, and this guy can cover just about anyone you line up against him in the league. It's kismet in terms of the lineup for it. He's got the range. He's physical. His little technique things is what he needs to work on, but honestly, that's everyone when it comes to this class. No one's coming in ready-made.
Bryce, you gotta when you say that, man, you gotta say it with your chest, bro. You gotta say sauce.
Chest.
That's how we get down in the South. Some sauce. Put some sauce on that.
Trust me, man. All right, I was rocking back in Little Rock. Right, I got the South going on it. No worries. I got the sauce if needed. All right.
He's just tired. Bryce had a long day, man. He had a long day.
I ran.
But Rick, you had something you wanted to add there. Go ahead and throw that in.
No, I think with the way they're approaching Davis Mills and his let's wait and see. An offensive tackle makes sense. They are going to probably want to establish the run as well, and shoring up that offensive line is going to be key for them. They did pretty well with the running back by committee last year, considering, but there is definitely a glaring need on that offensive line to make it a solid option to give Mills a chance.
Yeah, and for me, I guess so. Doing my research on them and like trying to figure out, because for instance, obviously I'm a Bills fan, so like you asked me, what's the top 3 needs for the Bills? I can run them off. Boom, boom, boom. With the Texans, outside looking in, it's like, oh, the Texans need everything. It's like, oh, they're horrible. But when you really actually look at the roster and you look at the way the team is, they truly do. They want to give Mills a chance. They like him a whole lot. The way they feel about him, it actually I'm being careful with how I say this. It reminds me of the love Buffalo had for Josh when he wasn't good his first and second year. They wanted to be patient with him. They wanted to stick with him, and they wanted to build around him. I don't think Mills is the same type of talent, but I do think that the Texans are looking at this like, you know what? We gotta get him some receivers. We got to get him a line. We got to give him the opportunity to try and grow and be great. And so offensive tackle, if Sauce wasn't there, I honest to God think Sauce is I don't think he'll be there. So if Sauce is there, I think they go Sauce. If not, I really do think they go offensive tackle. So, all right, next
That's
we got
fair.
the New York Football Giants. Oh, it's the Jets. My bad.
Jets.
This is ahead of you.
Jets, Jets.
The New Jersey Jets. Let's get
New Jersey Jets. Given their need and who their head coach is, I'm going Tibb. I don't think he makes it outside the top 5. And Saleh is a defensive-minded coach. He wants to get after the quarterbacks. He wants to get after Josh Allen. He wants to, make the quarterbacks in that division sweat. Mac Jones, Josh Allen, Tua. He's got after these guys and win games in order to prove that he can do it. And I think Tibbs gives him the best chance to do it.
All right, Sterling, what you feel about that one?
I love the pick, man. Even though he's going to the Jets, as you can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, going to the Jets, man. Even though you're talking about the Jets, the team that we despise and hate, but the thing with Kayvon Thibodeau, man, is that this dude has been the guy since he came out of high school. He was a number 1 recruit, but when he's on the field, man, he's got first step explosiveness. He could convert speed to power. And one of the things I love about his game is hands. Like this dude, hand counters, power. I mean, he's an animal. And I think, he's, some will say he's probably, the best run edge defender in this top 10. And we'll see, but he's got some pretty good tape, man. He's been consistent at least. So I really do like the pick for the Jets here. And I mean, you pair him up with some of these guys on the defensive line that they already have, and I think that's a good sign for years to come.
Yeah, I mean, him and Carl Lawson is just going to be interesting.
Yeah. I had him. So obviously I have the Giants next, and I'm going to jump to Bryce real quick. But I had him, if he makes it, I had him going to the Giants. So he's one of those picks that, like, if you get whoever gets this kid, like, you're getting somebody special. You get somebody with a motor on him, and it's gonna be fun to watch. Not as a Bills fan if they get him, but it'll be fun to watch. Bryce, how do you feel about this pick?
I'm all right on it. I think the only thing for me on it is because since there's such a drop off after those top 2 corners, and knowing that the Jets are going to have a little bit more to worry about also on the way, there are some still quality pass rushers. So I feel like we'll see how it goes on that if I'm having to try and pick it. It's still a great selection regardless. My only thing is just kind of how the board kind of, because as you know, after these first 2 corners, there's a little bit there's a gap before the next guy versus Tibbs to the next guy. It's not quite the same difference. And we know that the Jets are going to have to worry about stopping people because, well, you just can't count on windy days, to stop Josh Allen and then hope that, Mac Jones and Tua only can throw the ball 15 yards. So
in reality, that game was even with the win, like, that game just doesn't happen. You know what I mean? Like, because Josh we've seen games where we've had win like that, and it just doesn't happen. So you're really gonna have to not depend on it being an active guy to stop Josh Allen. You're gonna have to figure it out if you're in this division. So,
especially with Josh's legs.
I mean, especially with Josh, period. Like everything
Yeah.
about Josh is perfect. You know what I'm saying? Like that dude, like honestly, I know. So I'm a fan. Obviously, I'm a Bills fan. And so Josh is my guy. But like just outside looking at, like really just take a step back and look at everything that this guy has. He has the gunslinger mentality of Favre with that arm. Now he's improved his accuracy to the point where he's not throwing, 15 interceptions for 15 touchdowns. Like he's playing very well. He has you look at the numbers, he has rushing numbers that can compare to some of the greatest rushing quarterbacks in history, but he's not elusive like he's shaking people. He's gonna run you over. He's gonna jump over you. He's gonna slam your face into the turf. Like the dude is just he's like I made a comparison a couple years ago to LeBron James, not in the sense of winning championships, not in the sense of what he's already done, but in a sense of when you look at how LeBron is built for the game of basketball. He's the perfect height. He's fast. He's strong. Like his mentality for it. He's smart enough to be a point guard, but he's strong enough to play power forward. That's what Josh Allen is when I look at him at the quarterback position. He's, coming out the draft, they were like, oh, he needs to switch to tight end. He's big enough to play freaking tight end or linebacker. But he also has that arm that if you turn your head to like a half a second, the ball's gonna zip past you. And so I just love the kid. I don't know how I went that tangent real quick. I know we're talking about rookies coming in, and I talked about Josh Allen. Get prepared for that, everybody. I'm gonna talk about him all night. I got the New York Football Giants, and so where I'm gonna go. Wait, did everybody talk about that pick?
Yep.
Yep. We
Okay. So with the Giants, I am going to go. I have offensive tackle out of Mississippi State, my man Charles Cross, going to the New York Football Giants. We got this is going to be Buffalo Bills Part 2, and the only reason why they're not going Josh Allen is because there's no Josh Allen in this draft, and they have Daniel Jones, and they're going to give him a shot. So they feel like they might already have a guy who they can develop into being a leader, but they're going to give him a chance. One thing they're going to do is, though, they're going to improve that offensive line. I don't know if you guys watched the Giants much last year. They need help on that offensive line. And look, Charles Cross, he's going to come in. He's going to be able to start week 1. He's gonna solidify that line a little bit. It's still not completely improved, but it's gonna help a lot. So I see that they have certain weapons that they're trying to get rid of already. Like they're trying to trade 2 of their top receivers. But I think the way it's going to shake out for them, I think that these guys are gonna try to protect Daniel Jones. They're also going to try to provide some reinforcements for the running game, because when you have a Saquon Barkley, you gotta you got a Porsche in the garage. You got to drive it. You get what I'm saying? So I think that's where they're going to go with it. I think they're going to try to do that ground and pound thing, because Daniel Jones, again, rookie Josh Allen, second year. Daniel Jones isn't rookie, but Josh wasn't as confident with his passing. The way it was, they had to figure out it was a good time to have Shady, even though Shady wasn't the Shady that we loved. But it was a good time to have a decent running game. Let's reverse it now. Let's go Bryce, Rick, then Sterling.
All right. Let's see. For Cross, a little surprise for him kind of going, because most people usually kind of have Neal and Aquanu going ahead of him. At the same time, the fact that at least in terms of a pure pass protector, Cross is amazing on that. So if you are going to try and give Daniel Jones a shot, you might as well give him the best thing to try and potentially, block his backside there. And I figure I'll just give a short one on it, because I realize that we're running quick or we're running long fast on that. So just I like the choice of the pick. I'm a little kind of in between when it comes for between the guys picking apart, but still, I think you couldn't really go wrong with that choice.
I tell you what, and I'll be honest, that was my mistake in a way. Like I'm good on Charles Cross, but the reason is because again, I didn't expect Sauce to drop. So on my list, I didn't have I had him going to the Texans. So I already in my mind he's gone. So if it falls the way it falls, I could absolutely see them going that way as opposed to Charles Cross. The way we're doing this tonight, because I just assumed he was gone. Charles was the next in line. Rick.
Yeah, no, I agree with Bryce. I'm a little surprised. I personally, even as a Cowboys fan, feel like the Giants might go with Neal. I definitely agree that they go offensive line with this pick, but I think Neal being the bigger kind of brooding tackle shores up the line a bit more. I know he's got some issues with run blocking, particularly. He lets his hands, get a little bit too antsy, and so that might be an issue for them if they're really trying to get Saquon back into prime Saquon, which as somebody who owns him in a fantasy league, I really hope so. But they definitely have to go offensive line, and it kills me to say that because I loved watching Daniel Jones get sacked a bunch last year when he played the Cowboys.
It's going to be interesting to see if they go guard or tackle. It's going to be interesting. Where are you at with this, Charles?
Hey, I think it's a good pick. Charles Cross is an exceptional athlete, man. This dude, with the way he moves in space, I think it's impressive. And we were talking earlier about the importance of a pass rush. I mean, you have a guy like Charles Cross, man, who's strong at the point of attack, can move his hips, he can, his kick step's really good. He's a mean offensive tackle. He's young too. That's one of the cool things about him. 6 foot, I think he's 6'7", 305 pounds or something like that. He's an animal. I think it's a solid pick, man. And one of the ways you rebuild a franchise that needs to get in winning ways is through the offensive line. So I think that's a great pick.
Yeah, and again, with it being the Giants, man, it's the same thing. I know the pick of Ford didn't work out the way we wanted to. We already had Dion, so we didn't need a left tackle. But Cody Ford was a pick that the Buffalo Bills made early on, trying to protect Josh. It just didn't work out because they like to play musical chairs with their offensive line. I don't get it. I don't know why, but they absolutely just, to me, they ruined Cody Ford. All right, let's move on to the next pick. Who's next?
I'm next, man. So it looks like you got Charles Cross off the board. That was going to be my pick for the Panthers, actually. But since we're here, let's go with Ika Mekwonu. You want to talk about one of the meanest SOBs, offensive linemen in the draft? Outside of Trevor Penning, it's Ika Mekwonu, man. This dude looks like he's straight from Wakanda, and he's punishing everybody. My man is nasty with it. They played in a wide zone scheme at NC State. There's rumors or grumblings that he's best at guard, but I like the position flexibility. You can put him at tackle. I think he could thrive as a tackle. But if something happens where you see offensive tackle that you want to slide in, or you want to kick Icahn in to guard, I think it's great. I think he's one of those guys that he's a starter for 10, 15 years in this league, man. He's such a standout athlete and a wonderful kid. So just from everything I've read and heard, he's a solid selection here.
I'm with it. How you feel about that, Rick?
I think it's a great pick. The Panthers, again, are another team that want to reestablish their identity with the run. They've got CMC. They paid him that big contract. You're going to have to get him some protection and make sure that he's not getting hit by 307-pound defensive tackles. He needs to be, fighting off corners and linebackers. And with an offensive line shirt up, you can definitely do that. And like it was mentioned, this guy is just a beast. He is mean when he gets in those trenches. And even moving to the second level, you watch some of his film, and when he gets on those linebackers, they don't get around him. He's got the wingspan to move people and to take up multiple tacklers. So it's a great pick. I think it's going to, definitely benefit the Panthers in that division, especially with him having to go against Cam Jordan twice a year. Cam Jordan's a beast, and you need somebody to kind of deter that.
Well, honestly,
what are you thinking, Bryce? Where you at with it?
All right. Well, let me see. For me, like I said, he is physical, and yes, there's the guard versatility. But I'm reminded, even if I want to try and play fan base cards, Elgin Jenkins from the Packers. He came in. He's been an elite All-Pro level guard. But guess what? Green Bay had a pinch, had to swing him out to left tackle this year after Bakhtiari went down, and he dominated there. So with versatility of him having the possibility of playing guard, he might come in as a guard for like the first 2 games of the year, just so he can get accustomed to the game, and then flip out to the left tackle, and then basically keep everyone safe for quite a while in that. Like I said, I love the Kwanu pick. It's definitely something that the Panthers should do, especially with the number of tackles still being on the board. I didn't see the tackles falling down this far. But I will say, though, if it wasn't the case, the Panthers, I know, are, as I showed you guys from the information I sent earlier, they're the team who's begging the most to try and trade down in this draft because they have such little meaningful capital later on, and they have so many holes to fill. So love the pick. Yeah. I could also see this being the spot where you go, listen, this might be where the whole draft falls apart for various teams like the Eagles, for example, trying to hop up into that spot if someone like, say, Tibbs falls a little longer.
Yeah, I like I said, it was a mistake of mine the way we're doing this because this pick would have gone to the Texans. Had Sauce Gardner not because I don't think Sauce will get to the Texans. So there's no way in my mind this kid makes it this far. Like, there's no way. But if he does, absolutely, I can see this pick going. So now we're gonna move. We got the Giants again with a trade from not a trade that night, but the Chicago Bears pick. I'm gonna go. I have Jermaine Johnson, defensive end, Florida State. I think it's important. It's funny when I'm looking at this guy, his profile, I see him as high as 3rd in some places. I see him as low as 22 in some places. But what I also believe about football, and I believe about Brian Daboll coming from this program as the head coach, I think one of the things is that he believes the same thing that Sean McDermott believes. You control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. So the first pick I had him going with an offensive tackle with Charles Cross. Now I got them going with the defensive end, and same thing. You're going to have to try to get to that quarterback. You're going to have to stop the run. And I think Jermaine Johnson absolutely helps them there. Let's start with Sterling on this one.
You know, this is such a Buffalo Bills pick in terms of, I mean, you got Joe Shane now as a GM. This is such a Buffalo Bills pick because I think that, you know, we all, you know, well, you guys might not know, but Brandon Beane loves to draft guys out of the ACC, AAC. You know, these are guys that, you know, that are overlooked and they have a chip on their shoulder. And this is a guy that has a story. Like, it's not just, you know, Next Chance U or that whatever that football show on Netflix is. I mean, he comes from that. But I mean, this guy, you know, he's had adversity. And what an opportunity for him to come into a situation like this if he were to get drafted by the Giants. I mean, you know, there's not much that you could talk about. I mean, he played on a trash Florida State team, and he was out there wrecking. This dude is out there wrecking people. So I love the pick, Jermaine Johnson. He got a quick first step too. He's got a really quick first step. Excellent athlete. And you gotta, again, the importance of building in the trenches. So the Giants, they take an offensive tackle, they take a defensive end. You know, for the Giants, this is what they need. Now, this is one of those picks where we talked about the Buffalo Bills. They could have a little something in the works if your boy Sauce is still there. So don't be surprised if something like that happens. But I like this pick moving forward.
I just don't see Sauce getting this far. You're right. If Sauce is there, I absolutely believe the Buffalo Bills, like, hey, Joe, what's going on, man? You know, like I could see that. But no, I just don't see Sauce getting there. How do you feel about this pick, Rick?
I mean, there's two parts of me on this pick, obviously, because as a Cowboys fan, I hate it. I don't want to see him in my division. I don't want to have to face him twice a year. As a pure football fan, I love it. Controlling the trenches, getting into the quarterback's face, having that pressure is going to be huge for them. Their corners need the help and need to be able to rely on that defensive line to cause the quarterbacks to move around and be uncomfortable. So I think from a purely football point of view, it's a great pick. He's a huge body. I mean, the guy is 6'4", 309 or something like that. He's just absolutely, or I'm sorry, 6'4", 259. He's just a beast. He's going to move people. He's going to get around that edge. He's going to cause trouble for, you know, whatever tackle he's facing, whether it's left or right. And he has the ability to play both sides of the line. So it's a great pick for them. It's going to cause a lot of turmoil for the offensive lines that have to face them this season. And I think he's just going to be a game changer for him.
All right, Bryce.
For me, honestly, love the selection of it. Actually, and if anything, the thing about Johnson is that it's really a testament to how good the Georgia defense is. Because remember, he transferred out of there because of him trying to be able to even get in there. Goes over Florida State, wrecks shop, and still ends up being a top 10 pick in this scenario.
Yeah, which is insane.
Yeah, again,
he's going to be playing across from Leonard Williams. Like, him and Leonard Williams are just going to be chaos.
And ultimately, the Giants, in their history, the most time that they've had success as a franchise is when they've been able to successfully rush forward. Remember Justin Tuck, Osi Umenyiora, some of the guys they had back with, all right, the couple times that they had those Super Bowl runs. All right, they had guys who could get after the quarterback. So it seems like that's a crucial thing you've got to be able to do in this league is if you can send 4, you can figure out the rest.
Yeah.
All right, we got the Falcons next.
All right, and that was going to be me. If you're wondering why the order's a little bit all over, it's because we couldn't just go, you know, each taking turns because we had too many multiple teams. This way, everyone's got the same number of teams, same number of picks, and that way no one's picking for their division rivals. Just so that way no one's like, oh, yeah, no, Matareza. Yeah, I'm going Matareza here. That's what the Vikings want. Nah. All right. So, at least for my board, what I'm looking at here for the Atlanta Falcons, honestly, I got to go with I have number 3 on their board right now, and Evan Neal of Alabama. We talked about how being icky, how stacked he is. Evan Neal is in the similar sense of he is the skinniest 300-pound man I've seen in my life. Have you seen a picture of this guy? He looks like me in grade school. He somehow doesn't have like an ounce of fat on him. He's just standing there normally. He looks like a normal dude. I'm not kidding. Like you pull up a shirt, you pull up and
But
see
not
like a
you in
combine.
grade school. Come on, not grade school. I'm dying.
No, dude, legit. If you look at him, you go, huh? How he weighs 300? What? No, really? Like, no. And it's like, oh no, he's like 6'7". It's like I still don't get it, man. Like, where's all the muscle? It's like, no, like, where's the fat? It's like it's not there, man. Like having washboard abs at that size is just something you don't see. He's towering. He's great in the run game. Ultimately, I think with the fact of this Atlanta Falcons team having so many holes, the goal is to get through the year. It's not to try and make this offense explosive. You're rolling out Marcus Mariota right now at the moment. All right. You're not exactly going to be trying to go for figuring out how to put up all the points in the world. Good chance you're playing for quarterback next year. So even though that there's talks about quarterback, that's not going to be the spot here. You would just end up continuing to make your line better and worry about setting up for the future for the next guy.
All right, Rick.
I definitely agree. They're going to have to help Mariota as much as humanly possible. They're not going to be this explosive offense that we've been used to with the Falcons in the past with Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones. And yes, they have the glaring need at wide receiver because Jones is gone now. Ridley's suspended for the year. They spent their number 1 pick last year on Kyle Pitts, who is becoming a beast of a tight end in his own right. And he's probably going to be their primary offensive weapon this year. Giving Mariota enough time to get the ball out to him and starting to rebuild a line for maybe a QB next year or somebody later in this draft, it just makes the most sense. And honestly, if they're going to go QB next year, they definitely need to have a solid offensive line in front of whatever rookie they put back there.
Yeah. Sterling, where you at?
Oh man, I like the pick. The only question mark about Evan Neal is probably lateral mobility, his athleticism, but he's strong as hell. I mean, this dude, he probably went to the Ndamukong Suh School of weightlifting because this dude is strong. He's strong, as we say in the South. That boy's strong. But I think lateral quickness is probably the thing that I wouldn't say that scares teams, but it's a cause for concern because you're seeing a lot more guys that win with speed, right? And so he did a really good job at Alabama. You would like to see his football IQ be a little bit better, but I think maybe if you get him in a situation where you have really good coaching, offensive line coaching, and so forth, have him in the right system. And you put guys around him that can show him the way, man. I think he's a Pro Bowl caliber tackle, and I think he's going to be a household name for years to come.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's keep it moving because we already almost at 50 minutes. And I told everybody we were going to go over, so everybody is prepared to stick around. But let's keep it moving because we're only at 9 now. We're at the Seattle Seahawks.
Man, okay, so I got the Seahawks, and here's the problem, man. It's like they ain't nothing on the board. Like they need offensive tackle, they need a quarterback, they need a pass rusher, and I'm looking at the board, man. And I guess if you have to pin me to a wall, I guess I'll go Derek Stingley here. I know a lot of people will say that Derek Stingley is CB1. He's not my CB1. The NFL is a league of what have you done for me lately. And, his 2019 tape was really good, but he really hasn't lived up to that season of 2019 or the billing coming out of high school. I think he's a phenomenal athlete. He's fluid in his hips. He's got great ball skills, and we've seen him lock up some really good SEC corners in 2019 and shades of it here and there in his 2020 tape or 2021 tape. So I don't know if that was a lack of motivation just because of the situation and the coaching or lack thereof and so forth. But when you go to DBU, a lot is expected of you regardless of what's around you. And he just didn't really show up. So that's my like, Now, if you look at him run and so forth, he was blazing 40 time, and you're hoping that you can get 2019 Derek Stingley, but we just don't know. So I guess for the Seahawks here, I guess, that's just going to have to be their pick. They take the best player on the board and if it's a need for them because they really have nothing at cornerback right now.
Yeah. Real quick, Rick, where are you feeling?
I mean, he's BPA at this point, in my opinion, and he just makes the most sense given their needs and what they're going to try to do. Whether they like to admit it or not, they're more or less in a rebuilding mode, so they have to shore up the defense and try and rebuild the Legion of Boom that they had before, which is where their success came from. If Drew Lock is their quarterback, so I don't have high expectations for the offense this year. I think the defense is going to be what keeps them in games, really, and he's going to come in and help them immediately. So I think it's a great pick.
Okay. Bryce?
For me, honestly, I love this pick because it's one that you commonly see in the mocks. And that's mainly because at least when they're doing mocks like this, everyone's trying to put to the best player to the biggest need. Seahawks, they do have questions at quarterbacks and things like that. But honestly, this is the best player on the board right now. One of two best players. But the other player that is available on the board is not at a position of need for them. So honestly, it's one of those, it's a great pick. And look, I'm sure already by now, half these picks are already going to be off. But guess what? This was honestly a pick that we will be probably sitting around Thursday going, yeah, that happened. Because it's the best player. And that's honestly sometimes the most important thing to a GM rather than the missing piece.
They need a whole lot, though. You guys are right. Like Seattle, man. And I know this to all my Denver Bronco fans, but like I just can't see Seattle really thinking that they can compete with Drew Lock at quarterback. Like I just can't see it. And I know, like I said, Denver just had him, and I know that they made him battle with Teddy Bridgewater. Like if you're that good, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. Anyway, so next we got at number 10, we got Gag Green coming in. Shout out to Jessica with the Gag Green. I think Rick had Gag Green, right?
Yep, I got Gag Green again. I got their second pick, and honestly, if Stingley was still there, he would have been their pick because, like I said, he is the best player available for them, and they have a corner need. I think the other need that they have right now is going to be linebacker, and I have them going with Devin Lloyd because I think he's going to be an off-the-ball linebacker that helps them fight against the juggernaut of an offense that Buffalo and the other teams in that division are creating. They need somebody that's going to be able to try and keep up with Isaiah McKenzie, Gabriel Davis, Tyreek Hill when he's crossing.
Keep up with Isaiah McKenzie. I'm just tell you right now.
Upgrade my iMac, right? That's what we're going with.
Ain't nobody keeping up.
Miami got Tyreek Hill from Kansas City this year, and so you're looking at crossing routes, and there's going to be a need for them to address the slot receivers and these tight ends that are in this division, and he's probably one of the best off-ball linebackers there is in this draft class.
Yeah. All right, Bryce, how you feel?
Honestly, he takes up a lot of space right in the middle of the field and is great about being able to use his range and his length to be able to end up interrupting in the passing game, which is not something you commonly see with every linebacker coming out. Because of that, honestly, I feel like he'll end up working great, especially within the division when you end up having your Mac Jones and your Tuas and your offenses that are built on the short passing game. He converted from wide receiver from his freshman year when he ended up coming in, and a lot of it kind of shows within that. Now his eyes can still get kind of faked out by some veteran quarterbacks, so ain't sweat up for Josh on that one. But ultimately, though, I still like him as a great pick. Had him slightly lower on the board, but also, again, every team ends up having the board in their way. And after all, San Francisco, if you remember, had a high precedence towards Reuben Foster back when they did their draft. Whenever they went with Solomon Thomas with that third pick after they convinced the Bears for that fleecing trade, they were like, hey, yeah, if he wasn't there, we would have gone Reuben Foster, and he fell all the way to there. So they definitely value having that presence in the middle, and Lloyd can give them that very young piece to be able to be the stalwart for that defense.
Okay. All right, Sterling.
I don't like the pick. I love y'all, but don't like the pick. I think the value for a linebacker at 10, I think, the value doesn't match there. Look at the Buffalo Bills with Tremaine Edmonds. I like Tremaine Edmonds, but I think you could have done some more things there. You got a young quarterback that you have no answers for, right? And you're wasting his years if you're not going to put talent around him, right? So free agents didn't want to come there. I think you can get a linebacker late in this draft. But if the Jets, please do that. Please take Devin Lloyd at 10th overall. I'll be okay with that.
First of all, ain't no Tremaine slander on the code of conduct, so I need you to get your shit together. Okay?
No slander. No slander. Just value. Just value.
Just saying, I need you to get your shit together. First of all, because he wasn't a 10. He wasn't 10. We drafted him later than 10.
He's still a first-round linebacker. That's all.
And Tremaine, he is a first-round linebacker, but he does his job. You ain't no Tremaine Edmonds slander on the code of conduct. That's all I'm gonna say.
I like Tremaine. I
know. I'm just messing with you. Let's move on to the Washington Commanders.
All right, Washington Commanders. I'll make it pretty quick. Like I said, we literally had the number 6 guy on the board, Kyle Hamilton. Build up a safety, take the best player available right there for Washington. While there's talks about things like, for example, them going receivers, good news, Buffalo, they're not going to go that here. The fact that they're going to be looking into signing McLaurin for a long-term deal, they drafted Diami Brown in the 3rd round, and they still end up having Curtis Samuel on year 2. Yes, they want to end up worrying about trying to build up something because they believe in Carson Wentz, even though Carson Wentz has no guaranteed money left on his deal after this year. They can move on from that super easy. But with how quarterback even as an option, there's so many options they have in the 2nd round to even trade back up into the 1st to be able to go with. The value's still not here for quarterback. So receiver is not going to be touched. Quarterback's not going to be touched. Here's where I end up seeing one of the best defensive players on the board, Kyle Hamilton, coming in. He's rangy. He works well off the ball. He's perfect to be able to come down if need be into the box, but at the same time, he still has the terrific back pedal and turn, if need be, for about covering in space.
All right. I'm a relax on going around the full table. So like there may be a couple here where I might say, okay, well, Rick, how do you feel about this? Or still, but I won't do it for every pick. So now let's move on to, because Washington, I don't care about. Sorry, Washington. Right. But let's move on to Minnesota now. Who has Minnesota?
I got Minnesota. And honestly, with them looking at their lineup, looking at their depth chart, even the early projections that we have coming out now, I still think that they have a need to help Kirk Cousins and Dalvin Cook out. So it may be a little early, but I think that they go with Marquise Hayes, the offensive guard.
Okay, now this is one that I'll ask around. Bryce, I see your finger up already.
Bad pick. I'll be honest. I don't see it. The value is not there. You can get Marquise Hayes in the 3rd round, all right, and where he's already going over here, going at 12. You have your Zion Johnsons, your Kenyon Greens, even if you're trying to reach for something. Don't reach for. All right, reach for the top aisle. Don't reach for the ceiling. All right, this is a Costco, man. You're not going to reach it. Like that is way out there. I got nothing on Marquise Hayes. He's not on a single board I have, and I got 35 guys on one board right now. So that said, that's where I stand on that one.
It is Minnesota.
No, just me. All right, let me put it this way. That's my Devin Lloyd. That's how we're going for this. That's all right. Please, Minnesota, hire this man to be your GM. Please. Rick Spillman, there's a connection. Come on. Hook up the boy, Rick.
Bryce is a Green Bay fan, for those of you who don't know.
I thought the Raiders were picking, dog. I was like, that's something they do. I love
Hayes wasn't in the national championship, though. That's the only way. That's the only difference, was the Raiders kept picking bad players that were in the national championship game. It was like they watched one film a year for the game tape for, hey, who should we pick? Just watch the national championship game. Right down the roster. We'll pick a dude.
That guy.
He was there.
I love it. Keep it moving,
all
baby.
Right. So now we got the Houston Texans. I'm back on the Texans GM game. I'm going to roll with, I have them going with Garrett Wilson, wide receiver out of Ohio State. So this one right here was actually is a bit of a toss-up between Wilson and Williams for me from Alabama. As far I feel like at this point is when we're going to start seeing that run of wide receivers really start to come off the board. And like I said, they start off by trying to give their quarterback some protection. Mills needs some protection with that tackle position, but then now it's like, okay, let's get him some weapons here. I think it's going to be Garrett Wilson. I think everybody. It depends on who you talk to, but I think everybody right now would say that Wilson will go off the board slightly before Williams. But to me, it was dependent on who was there. I thought Wilson would have possibly have been gone. He's not, so I'm going Wilson here. I want your takes on this one. Let's start with Sterling.
Oh man, give your guy somebody to throw to, right? Garrett Wilson's I think he's one of those guys that's going to come in. He's going to do it the right way. He's a great route runner. He's good at separation. He's got great hands too. I mean, I don't see a problem here with this pick, but there is, a better wide receiver on the board, and just saying. But I like the pick.
it must be again. I'm doing this with I have so the way I did it, my teams, I picked the players that I feel like fit the team based on where I thought the board would fall.
Yeah.
So I'm not a real GM and I don't have everything fluid in front of me. So if somebody who I thought was going to be taken earlier, if he's not taken, I'm just still kind of going with the pick. So I apologize if this is throwing anybody off, but
no, it's good.
You know, but that's where I was going.
The thing about it, though, is, you know, people have mock drafts and you know, when you analyze this stuff and you research this stuff, nobody freaking knows who's going to draft who, right? After the first 3, you have no effing clue. So they could very well take a Garrett Wilson here, and your guard there, man. I don't know if he'll be there, but they could do something a little crazy, a little wacky. So that's all I'm saying on that.
All right, who has B Moore? Who got the Baltimore Ravens?
I do.
No.
Wait, who has
Nah, you got Eagles right there, my friend.
Oh, okay. I was about to let
wrong
it
bird, man. Wrong bird.
man.
Oh, man. All right, cool. Let me see here. Which, by the way, Garrett Wilson, I'll say he did play down in Texas for his high school ball. So if anything, he would live for that kind of homecoming right there. Now then, on to the Baltimore Ravens. And I had to think about the most Ravens pick possible about this. And I'm going with Jordan Davis, Georgia. Now, yes, there might be things involving snap count and limited ability, but guess what? When you're having the Baltimore Ravens offense that's going to be chewing clock all the time, your defense is not going to be spending near as much time on the field. Jordan Davis is an absolute man beast out there. Like, literally, he's someone that you make all 99s and create a player and just wreck shop with. You can watch him stand next to even his teammates, and he can make them look small. Even if you're staying next to, you're seeing like Devontae Wyatt, his teammate. If you put him next to, Jordan Davis, you would easily think that, that Wyatt is about 6 feet tall and maybe 280. So Davis is the pick. It's defensive behemoth right there in the middle, the anchor for the Ravens. That's the way I'm going with it.
Yes or no, Sterling? You like this pick?
Yeah, he's very Baltimore Ravensy, man. This dude is going to come in.
No. As a yes or no?
Yeah, I like it.
Okay, Rick. Yes or no? Sterling is ready.
I was ready, dog.
That's
one of my favorite players. I was about to give it to you, dog.
Well, go ahead and do it then. If that's one of your favorite guys.
No. I just think Jordan Davis, man. I just think he's a behemoth of a dude, man. This guy is a freak of nature athlete. And I just think he's gonna surprise a lot of people. I know there's a lot of people, Bills Mafia, that aren't sold on Jordan Davis, but I think he's going to be wrecking the shop in Baltimore. And he's just a Baltimore guy. So I love that you said that, Bryce. I just think it's a great pick. So I'll be quiet with that one.
All right, Rick, yes or no?
Yes. I'll keep it.
All right. Now we got the Saints next. Who got the Saints?
Eagles.
I'm skipping. See, he was going too quick. Now I'm skipping over the Eagles. Go ahead.
So
it's okay. Nobody cares about the Eagles.
For the Eagles, they need a cornerback. I just don't think the value for corner at this pick is really there. So edge is another one, but shit. You know what? I'm gonna go Drake London here. I think he gives them something that they don't have: a big height, weight, speed guy. Well, not speed, but just a big target that they can get down the field, win jump balls. I think when you have a quarterback like they do, that's not a very accurate quarterback, I think one of his things is, you throw a 50-50 ball up there for Drake, it's like 80-20. Like, the dude's coming down with it. So he's pretty much a security blanket. When you got Devontae Smith on one side, you got Dallas Goedert. I think that would be a great compliment to the offense. I think that's the best player available right now.
Okay. Yes or no, Bryce? You like that?
Sure do.
Rick?
Yes, as a pick in general. So I'll leave it at that.
You don't like it I got you. I got why you don't like it.
New Orleans Saints. The playoffs. All right. Saints here. All right. On their list of needs, I'm definitely going to be going with what at least I have for them based upon fit for the top corner on the board. Trent McDuffie, Washington. We're starting to hit to where we're starting to hit the next group or some of the corners will be going. He's a fit for them over there in terms of what you have to worry about being able to stop. You got to be going against guys like Mike Evans. You have to go against your Chris Godwins. You're going to need that. So he's definitely someone who I'm going to end up going with for this selection. Perfect New Orleans pick.
All right. You guys like this pick?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. I
All
think
right.
it
Let's go to the Chargers.
So I struggle with this one because I got two options that are on the board that I think will be really good for the Chargers. But ultimately, I think that they go with shoring up the offensive line, especially in that division, and helping out Justin Herbert. I mean, they invested a lot of money in this kid, and they think he's the future, so might as well protect him. I'm going with Trevor Penning.
I like him. He has half my last name. I ain't gonna get a whole thing up, but I like him because of that. Like, he's my guy. We like this pick, Sterling?
Yeah, I like it.
We like it, Bryce?
Yeah, good pick.
All right, Rick. I mean, if you have some more to kind of go into, you can, by all means.
No, I think he's just going to really help them out. I know they've got needs at linebacker. They've got other needs as well, but I think in terms of just what they are trying to do with that offense and really being competitive in that division as a whole, they're going to need to give Herbert enough time. They just re-signed Mike Williams, so I don't think wide receiver is going to be a huge concern for them in this draft. And then they've already got Keenan Allen as well. So giving Herbert as much time as he can have, it just makes the most sense.
Yeah, and I'm with you. Let's keep it moving. Philly.
All right, so Philly, that's me. I'm gonna go. See, this is tough. This is tough. Let me go with a Zion Johnson. Is he still on the board?
Yep.
Yeah.
Let me take a Zion here. I think he's a great offensive tackle here, man. Character through the roof. You know, he's one of those guys that's been counted out, and you know, I'm a character guy. Okay, I love guys that come in with character, football character. You know, we've seen that working with the Buffalo Bills and how they construct their roster. I think it goes a long way. But you already have a good offensive line. You add Zion Johnson to it with what they already have, and I think it becomes a great offensive line. So I like Zion Johnson with the Eagles here.
Okay, we got we like that pick, Bryce and Rick.
Yeah,
Absolutely
I think
do.
it's good.
Like
All right,
John's,
back on the Saints.
all right, back with the Saints here. All right, we already went corner with our first pick, so then at that point, the remainder of that position is dead to us. You know what? I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna hate myself for it. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be going with Chris Olave right here, because if the fact that the Saints are gonna be playing for this year, Olave is going to end up having to be a receiver they're having to bring in at that spot. Receiver is a position that they have looked at in New Orleans. The fact that you still have a couple of guys like J-Mo sitting here also as well, I considered, but the fact that they're playing for now tells me that they need to somebody that they need to be able to play week 1, not week 8 or 9.
All right. We like this pick.
I really like it. I think it's going to be a good pairing with Michael Thomas and give Jameis an opportunity to actually show that he can hopefully be a consistent quarterback and hit his own receivers instead of the other corners.
Yeah. Okay. You like it, Charles?
I like Jameson Williams better, but hey, if it plays out this way, please Buffalo trade up.
I was gonna say if at this point, if Williams is still there right now, I need Brandon Beane to be making a call to the Pittsburgh Steelers, like, yo, I know y'all got a pick y'all want to make, but we need to jump up real quick. Like, let's do this. Because I'm with you. But you know what? No, not even the Steelers. Probably, well, the Patriots ain't gonna trade with us.
No, you can do it with the Steelers.
Well, no, the Steelers aren't gonna go for a receiver. They're not. You know, they're going from elite. We all know where they're going.
But look who's coming in between. You got the Packers, and you have a couple teams sitting behind that could also be doing the jump up game. You guys have so many picks. You could literally give up a first and a third and move right into 20 perfectly, according to the draft charts, right into the spot. And after all, you've already said 4 guys are making the team, right?
4, maybe 5,
Yeah.
4.
But so to recap, though, so how much are you really crying over needing that third round pick?
I'm
You have
not,
a chance
I'm
to
not
get your
crying
guy
about
first.
it. What I'm saying,
No, I'm just saying it's like,
I'm
no, man, like I would. It's one of those, like, if you love this guy, that's the spot where you just go ahead and just, you know what, yeah, what we need the third, what, first, second, we'll worry about the rest from there.
I just question the willingness of a team. Like, for instance, I think the only team at this point it would have to be Pittsburgh. I don't see New England ever doing any type of trade with the Bills, even on draft day.
Mm-hmm.
Green Bay, I feel like Green Bay has similar needs to Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
I think not Carolina. I think Arizona has similar needs to Buffalo. Cowboys have similar. So I think once you're getting into this 20 range where you have
Mhm.
teams that are pretty much playoff teams, you don't have the glaring holes everywhere. So you're looking for something to help push you a little bit further or get you over the hump just a little bit. And so I just don't see New England. So yeah, it would have to be the Pittsburgh Steelers. But right here, I don't see it, the board falling that way.
Mhm.
I think they're going Malik Willis, quarterback from Liberty. I know they just signed our guy from Buffalo that was our backup to Josh. I'm gonna miss him. They need a quarterback of the future. And as much as we all know it, Mitch is not that guy. And we love Mitch. Mitch has the intangibles. There was a reason why he was taken where he was by Chicago, but it didn't work out, blah, 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 blah. I don't see it happening. I see them going with Malik. I don't know if he'll start week 1, which is why you get Mitch Trubisky to kind of help show him how to be a pro, bring him along. But they're absolutely going quarterback here. What did everybody think? No?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think everybody feels that's where they're going. New England Patriots.
Oh, you're making me pick for the Patriots.
Marquise Hayes is off the board, by the way.
and this is hazing for you. Like, this is your first night as an official member of the Buffalo Rumblings podcast network. So you are Bill Belichick without the Super Bowl.
If I'm Bill
Without the Super
Belichick,
Bowls.
yeah, dude. If I'm Bill Belichick, man, I gotta go Jameson Williams here, man. Jameson Williams is, in my opinion, I think he's wide receiver 1 in this class. You talk about a guy that can take the top off of defense, can run routes effectively, top of stem, break it off. I mean, he's everything you want in a wide receiver. And Mac Jones needs a guy that could. They don't have a speed guy on their roster currently, and I don't think Devontae Parker really moves the needle much. I know they traded for him this offseason. So Jameson Williams is that guy. I hate to see it, but best player on the board, man. He's there.
Mac Jones needs an arm.
He need a lot of stuff, but
yeah, rag arm. He needs an arm. He can't. But yeah, I think that pick is. Yeah, I think it makes sense if he's there at this point on the board. How are we feeling about this, Rick, Bryce?
I think it's logical. Mac Jones needs weapons, and he's the BPA.
All right, so now we're at 22. Green Bay Packers.
All right, and see what I hate about this as a Packers fan, I have where I definitely would want to end up going, but I had to look a lot about how Green Bay actually does some things. So there's some guys I had to pull from the board that were worth it. So that just with our directions, we're not going to go. They don't need different thresholds for profiles and age and stuff like that.
Or position, because they don't draft wide receivers in the first round typically.
Yeah, I think we literally have to this year, unless the Darren Waller thing happens. And even then, I still think we desperately need to. So if I'm having to go off my top 3 that I have on my board here, the one that's going to end up making the most sense for Green Bay on this, I'm going to go George Karlaftis, the defensive end out of Purdue. Yes, I realize there's a couple other guys like Ojabo if I was going to try and consider about it, hooking up with that Michigan connection with Rashad Gary. But Karlaftis, he has good frame. He has a great motor. He has some inconsistent moments on that, but I think within that there can be some more coaching on that. You have Preston Smith working on the opposite side. So while a fixture there, still Green Bay does like to have a dearth of edge rushers. Z ended up taking off and going over to the Vikings. And I feel like honestly this is going to be the pick that they would go with here, even though as much as I see guys who I'm screaming I would rather probably take instead, this fits most to what Green Bay's model look like.
So you think they're still going to abuse Aaron Rodgers by not taking a receiver in the first round? Is that what you're telling me?
The man plays with the chip on his shoulder. Why not give him a bigger one, apparently? I don't know. It seems to be their plan.
All right. Well,
let's just piss him off as much as possible.
Yeah, I don't get it. You trade away Devontae Adams, obviously, because you needed to. He didn't want to be there anymore. But and you replace him with Sammy Watkins? Like, I just... Okay.
And no,
I got the Arizona Cardinals. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I think it's a travesty and a tragedy equally.
There's still
Aaron
another pick
Rodgers
to go. In all fairness,
in fairness, but
that Jeopardy gig's still open. Rodgers might be looking at it.
You should give it a shot.
At this point, I feel like, and we could take a break here because I wanted to do this for all of our teams in a way. So when the Cowboys come, we're going to take a break for Rick. We'll take one for the Bills. We'll take one. So the thing that intrigues me about them, and I'm not a GM, obviously, that's why I'm doing a podcast, but it's one of those things like Aaron Rodgers has complained basically as far as your recent memory can take you about the type of weapons, the type of decisions being made, the type of this, the type of that. If I'm the Green Bay Packers and I have 2 picks, I have one at 22 and one at 28, I'm double dipping with the best receivers available, and I'm getting Aaron Rodgers. No excuses. Like, okay, yeah, we lost Devontae, but you really only had one guy to throw to last year. We got 2 for you now, and you can go out and do that. And then Sammy Watkins as a third receiver, that makes sense. Sammy Watkins as probably your best guy on the roster right now, that don't make no sense. So, Rick, how do you feel about and Bryce knows his team, which is blowing my mind right now. How do you feel about the pick, and then how would you have made this pick if you were the Green Bay Packers?
I mean, I think the pick fits in line, obviously, with what Green Bay has done over the last couple of years. They don't really look for the offensive weapons if they don't have to, in my opinion. And he is, I mean, he's the best player available. I get the pick itself. He's a big body. He's going to work well on the opposite side of Smith. You want your defense to be aggressive. You want them to, be competitive. But with how vocal Aaron Rodgers has been, I think I go with you, Spence, and I double dip. I get him, maybe a Trey Burks, a big 6'2", 225 receiver, or somebody who can invest in that position that he's been very vocal about to try and appease him as much as possible while you still have him, and maybe set up Jordan Love for the future as well, because you're gonna want to have weapons for a era after Rodgers if it ever happens.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is gonna play till he's 50 just to piss Packers fans off.
No. And on top of that, I laugh because that's off topic, but it reminds me of when they made a big deal about Aaron Rodgers and Randall Cobb sitting courtside at the Bucs game. And then you know what else happened? They said Jordan Love sent a picture. He was at the game too, but he was in the nosebleeds. And I was like, this is what happened to his mom at the Chiefs game all over again. The man struggles to get, for lack of a better term, love from Green Bay on that. And it's a shame because of how Rodgers' contract is. He's basically just they're here at this point to be Rodgers' backup and just kind of hoping maybe he wants to stick around for a shot at a job if Rodgers retires right around the time he's due for a new contract. But low odds on that. And honestly, if I was Green Bay already in this draft, I already have them projected to look at possibly trading to right around where the 13th spot is by giving up their second round in order to get a good receiver. It killed me with taking Olave because they love Olave in the terms of their profile of how they end up setting up for their receivers. London doesn't quite make the list, and Williams, with a little bit of his frame, can be something that could be a slight deterrent. But also, either way, Garrett Wilson, Jameson Williams, Chris Olave, I would have loved to have made with this pick. I wouldn't have even hesitated. They were all guys I had over George Karlaftis. But because of the gap where I have Karlaftis, because I did the boards for all the guys, so I got 30, 35 picks for each. And because of that, there's just so much. I have him at, let's see what, I have him about a 15th player on their board. And then with the next player coming in at 19. That's the reason I ended up going with that, because there's such a gap on that. You have to go best player available, even if it hurts, because that seems to be Green Bay's motto.
No, it makes sense, and I feel like best player available is the best way to go in general. But I just also realize like there are situations on each team that will sometimes make you say, maybe best player available isn't the fit for, like for instance with the Steelers, they need a quarterback, and now best player available is probably not a quarterback, but they need a quarterback, and I feel like when you're a team that needs a quarterback, you take a quarterback I believe you take a quarterback every year till you find one. Yeah. People don't believe that. It's a whole different. I feel like certain positions you take them. You just take them till you fit. And it bugs me that teams they don't listen to the most important player on their team. And as much as outside of Green Bay, and probably a lot of Green Bay fans, when it comes to Aaron Rodgers, people are probably tired at this point. Like, oh my God, this guy is this and this guy is that. But it doesn't matter. He's a top 3-2-1 quarterback. Depending on who you're talking to, that conversation goes one of 3 ways. He's 1, 2, or 3. And you got that guy. He's been good for that long. You get him some receivers. You get him receivers. I don't. Steros, how do you feel about that real quick? And then we got to move on to Arizona.
Yeah, real quick, man. I just think the thing about that is, though, Aaron Rodgers doesn't like rookie receivers. He wants receivers that can come in and produce immediately, right? So a guy like Christian Watson is a great selection, or would be, and I think a guy like Jahan Dotson that can come in, at least one of those two guys in the first round, I think would be great for the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah. I feel you. So, well, real quick, moving on to the Arizona Cardinals. I actually have Jahan Dotson for the Cardinals. I think it's a perfect fit. I had season tickets last year, and Rick and I had the opportunity to watch them up front week after week. And the thing is, AJ Green had way more of a role than I think they anticipated him having. And they signed him back. They brought him back for another year, but AJ Green, this was like the first year he was able to stay healthy, like in a long time. So I don't think that they want to bank on the fact that he's going to be their number 2 wide receiver. They just lost Christian Kirk to that ridiculous contract out in Jacksonville. DeAndre Hopkins, for some reason, he always produces these amazing, especially in fantasy. If you have him in fantasy, you love him because he's always going to give you certain numbers, but he misses a certain amount of games, it seems like, too. He just always either has hamstring issues. He's actually turning into what AJ Green was with the hamstrings, or Julio with the hamstrings. And I think, looking at a player like Dotson, like you just mentioned, Strauss, he can come in week 1, he's on the team, he's playing, he's out there doing things for Kyler Murray that I think once DeAndre Hopkins went down, it was clear without a number 1 wide receiver, the offense is completely different. And I think Dotson changes he changes the dynamic on what the offense looks like if Hopkins isn't in. And then if Hopkins is in, it's going to be tough to cover both those guys. And then you still have, the flashes and moments from AJ Green where he can make some things happen. So I think Ertz, being added into that mix, you throw Dotson there, it makes that offense pretty darn dangerous. Rick, how about you? Because again, we're kind of sort of Cardinals fans in a way here too. So I kind of want your perspective on that pick.
Well, I think it's a good pick. I'm kind of happy they brought back AJ Green. I think he did well in this game last year, and not having to be the number 1 still. The other player that I think you might have forgotten about is Rondell Moore. He is going to be a second-year receiver. He did very well in his limited role last year, and I think they expand upon that this year. They love running 4 wide receiver sets. I mean, that's why Christian Kirk had numbers he did that got him the stupid contract he had in Jacksonville. Right. I think his agent is a genius and a magician for convincing Jacksonville that he was worth that. But that's a topic for another time. But I think adding another option here for Kyler Murray to use will be great. They can address their running back needs later in the draft if they want to, but adding the big body receiver for the slot is going to be a good choice.
I think they're happy with Connor, which is, to me, weird. Not weird that because he didn't play bad. He actually played very well last year. But I think that they're happy with Connor, and I think you're right about Rondell. With respect to him, I look at him like a player. Like I look at him the way I look at Isaiah McKenzie on the Bills. So I think Isaiah McKenzie is a piece that if they used him properly and they used him a lot, he would produce a lot and he would do a lot of things. But I feel like they do expand on his role, just like I think they're going to do with Isaiah McKenzie. But I still don't think that they view him as like, if I can get Dotson, do I elevate Rondell or do I get Dotson? I think they get Dotson.
I think they get Dotson. I think that's a fair pick.
So, all right, Cowboys, it's on you. What it is.
So I got two guys I'm looking at here, and if I'm Jerry Jones, I know where I'm going, and we've joked about this at great lengths
Just do it.
in our chat, and I don't want to do it. I think that Dan Quinn actually convinces Mike McCarthy and Jerry Jones not to go the linebacker route, and I think we go with Devontae Wyatt. We go with the other defensive tackle out of Georgia. He's 6'2", 307. He's a big body that plugs up the middle, and he helps Parsons move around a lot more. We're bringing back DeMarcus Lawrence on his contract. You've got Parsons coming into his second year after winning Defensive Rookie of the Year. He is just a beast of a middle linebacker and kind of a switch army knife in that middle section. And Dan Quinn's going to want somebody to be in front of him to help wreak havoc. And I think Wyatt fits the position.
How we feel about this one, Bryce?
I'm all right with it. I'm surprised that when you first said what Jerry's thinking that we mocked, I could have swore this was going to be the Treylon Burks connection, all right, because we all know how much Jerry loves the U of A. But Wyatt's a good selection, though. You end up having these linebackers, all right, and this way, at least with Wyatt, you're having somebody who's going to help keep them cleaner when it comes to this. Wyatt, like I said, compared to Jordan Davis, he's a small man, but he's not. He's still 6'3", 307, all right, and he has a good show of better technique even, actually, than Jordan Davis has showed on some of the technique, where Davis might have the raw power. Wyatt actually shows a little bit more of the technique to actually give a chance for also immediate contribution.
Sterling?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of Devontae Wyatt's underrated qualities is his ability to rush the passer. So I think he gives you guys a benefit of, like you mentioned, kind of freeing up Micah Parsons, and whoever they put next to him. As Van Der Esch he's still over there with those guys, right?
Yeah, they re-signed him on a 1-year deal. We didn't execute his 5th-year option, but they brought him back on a 1-year kind of prove-it contract.
Yeah.
Nakobe Dean's also there, the linebacker from Georgia, which, Jerry Jones could go linebacker in the first round, but I think Wyatt's the better and kind of safer pick here.
I like Lewis Seen here too.
Mm-hmm.
All
That's
right.
Lewis Seen's a good one too.
Well, y'all know what time it is for real, though. It's time for Brandon Bean. Spence the Bean.
Spence the Bean. What running back you taking?
Spence the Bean. Before I make this pick, so let's talk about it. Before I make this pick, there's a portion of Bills fans who wants us to go cornerback. There's a portion of Bills fans who wants us to go receiver, portion of Bills fans who wants a running back, and a portion of Bills fans who wants an interior offensive lineman. From what everyone here knows about the Buffalo Bills, let's start with Bryce. What do you think the Bills should do with this pick?
Honestly, if I'm the Bills looking at it, corner is very possible, and receiver board is actually still sitting up well as well. Interior offensive line, there's one name that's still likable, but not quite. And honestly, if I was going to throw out a name that would make everybody panic, it would probably be Jalen Petrie out of Baylor. Only the fact that he plays safety. Oh no, it's bad for Jordan Porter. No, he is a ball hawking player. Him and Daxton Hill are that same kind of guy who can play slot corner as well as safety. And with football now, it's becoming positionless. You need guys who can make plays from wherever they are in the field. So I could see that being the unpopular pick that, if I'm a Bills fan, I shouldn't be too worried about, because you still are getting your fill-in corner to be able to try and work in the meantime. And especially, I kind of have a little bit of hope with Von Miller over there trying to talk to Joe Hayden for them golf games, for trying to bring him in for something on the side. So I could understand if they went with a handful of those picks, at least, like I said, between, like I said, your possible safety slot hybrids. Running back still too soon. Receiver board, it's starting to get into the next area where a receiver can make sense. And corner, there's been a gap since corner's fallen. It's starting to catch up now to where corner's not a bad pick either.
All right, Rick, what you thinking?
I'm thinking with the injury that was suffered last year to your corner room, I think that's got to be the need that's addressed here. Adding depth there is never a bad thing, especially when you're talking about the AFC and your division. Honestly, you're going to be facing Tyreek Hill twice a year now when you have to play against Miami. And yes, he does have Tua trying to throw to him, which means it'll be underthrown by about 20 yards. But getting a corner that can, help you address the need while White is recovering and, maybe not 100% at the beginning of the season, and then move inside as the room becomes healthy, it just makes the most sense. And Brandon Bean is all about making sense. So
he is. What you with, Sterling? Where you think it goes?
As much as I think they should get corner, I don't think they will. I think one of Sean McDermott's calling cards is the fact that he can build up corners. You already have a number one corner, right? So I think the Bills are probably, I really could see a guy like Kenyon Green being the pick here, offensive lineman. And I could see them taking David Ojabo. I know that's, you probably haven't heard that opinion yet, but I think Ojabo will be a great selection here because, even though as much as we love Von Miller, we still have a outside of Rousseau, we really don't know much about Basham and Epinesa. And I think if you put a talent like Ojabo next to or under the tutelage of Von Miller, I think it's going to be a great long play for the future. And Brandon Beane likes freaking natures, and he likes to play the long game. So I think that's something that Bills Mafia might want to wrap their minds around. And he's even said that don't be surprised if I take another edge guy in round 1.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And he always does things that sometimes it's like, wait, why? But it fits. And or he follows the best player available thing. And it's like, damn it, we really wanted it. Like I remember when we drafted Cody Ford, man. I so bad wanted us to draft DK Metcalf, and receiver was an actual need.
Mm-hmm.
It was an actual need. So, Brandon Beane does things that, so for instance, everybody knows I've been pounding the table. We need a receiver. Like as much as I love Davis, I love Diggs. Diggs is a clear number 1. I think that obviously signing Jamison Crowder was a good move. So we have a decent receiver room after Diggs. But in reality, if Diggs goes down, do we have a top 10 unit without Diggs? So to me, I'm like, and I don't want Diggs to get injured, so I'm not going to wood about that. But what I'm saying is if he goes down for any reason during the season, yeah, you want Josh to elevate the players around him, but is he really going to? I don't know. We haven't seen it from a player of the caliber of Jake Kummerow. Can Jake Kummerow come in and give you 700 yards and 10 touchdowns? I know we call him touchdown Jesus, but can he do that? I don't think so. I don't know. Do I really want to depend on Isaiah Hodgins going into the playoffs? I don't know. He's been injured. He hasn't gotten his chance because every time they try to give it to him, something happened. I'm actually going to go with Kyler Gordon here. I think the Buffalo Bills are going to take a cornerback. I think they are going to go position of need, but I think it also makes sense, not just position of need. I think the kid is impressive. Everything that I've seen about him, he doesn't have that speed that a lot of Bills fans want as far as going up against, the super speedy wide receivers now that we have one in our division in Tyreek Hill. But I think the kid is strong. I think he has a burst. I think he comes in and he has the potential to be a number 1 cornerback. But because we have Trey White, once he comes back from his injury, I think that solidifies it, and it gives you almost the same type of secondary that we would have had if we would have gone out on a limb and signed a guy like Stephon Gilmore back to the team. I'm not saying he is Stephon Gilmore, but it gives you that same sort of, you're going to try to throw on us? Good luck. It gives you that type of energy. So I'm going cornerback here at 25 for the Buffalo Bills. One more time around real quick. How do we feel about this? We can start with Sterling.
I can see it. I could totally see getting a corner here. I think Kyler Gordon's a good pick. I like Andrew Booth here too as well.
Yeah, Andrew Booth was the one I was kind of looking at for Buffalo at this spot. But both are great options, and like you said, they fill the need until Trey can come back and then move in and potentially solidify the corner room for a couple more years for you guys. So I think it's a good pick.
No,
right,
it's 100%. I think it matches with what Buffalo likes to end up doing. Buffalo, I've noticed, at least through their history when it comes to corners, the athletics don't necessarily matter. The tape is what matters more than anything else. And the tape on Booth and Gordon both show a lot of solid instincts and guys who seem that they will be able to transition very quickly to the NFL game. So couldn't go wrong with either of those. Gordon, I think, is a great selection.
Yeah, I like Booth too, but again, I'm re-explaining this. I feel like some of these guys that we're picking, I don't think will be available. I think we put a lot of thought into things that is going to fall differently for the way it goes. So if it's Gordon, fine, But again, if Booth is there, I could see that. I understand the whole we need Bryce. I'm not against running back once you're in a certain place. Like to me, once you're drafting from 20 and up, I'm not against the running back thing. I am against taking a running back at 2nd overall or at 4th overall. But when you're talking about drafting at 25, when you feel like your team already before say there was no draft, and we go into the season today with the way the teams are built, I feel pretty damn good about the Buffalo Bills. My weakness, it would be cornerback. But other than that, I feel pretty damn good about the Buffalo Bills and the roster that Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott has put together. So running back, sure. Wide receiver, sure. Because I also had Burke here at this point. I think Treylon Burke, if he's available, is an option. So they could go receiver. I feel like they could go running back. I feel like it's one of those irritating things as a Bills fan because Brandon Beane is really that guy that will just do whatever the hell he wants to do.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to see that come Thursday night. So, yeah. All right. Let's keep it moving. We got the Tennessee Titans.
All right. Now with the Tennessee Titans, I'll admit it took me a little bit kind of going through them, especially because a lot of what they're scouting is offensive players. At the same time, sitting at the board, as tempting as it is to take a guy like a Treylon Burks, I think they see a situation they can actually not have to give up a ton of capital and still get a quarterback that's on the board. I have Desmond Ridder going here. He's a smart player. He worked great as a starter for the University of Cincinnati. He's good with his reads. Yeah, there are some questions about his arm strength, but not all that many, especially compared to what we've seen some guys coming out the draft of, guys like Mac Jones, for example, that had a lot more of an arm restriction. Ridder can lead an offense and top it off. Next year, there's not any guaranteed money left on Ryan Tannehill's deal, so they can cut him like nobody's business. They have one of the rare chances to be a playoff team, pick up a quarterback, and still remain a playoff team along the way. And that way you can still worry about what you're going to be continuing from there, but you have your chance to build towards the future, especially after what Tannehill ended up doing in the playoffs of kind of letting them down in some key moments.
Okay. Do we like this pick, guys? We're not going to go into this one like we did the Bills or the Cowboys.
Yeah, no, I like it.
Okay.
I mean, they're going to have to find a solution for Tannehill. So
yeah, they will. Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
All right, with Tampa, I think they go offensive lineman here. I'm going to go Kenyon Green out of Texas A&M. I just think that Kenyon Green he's a freaking beast. He's 6'4", 320 something pounds. I think he has sizable lateral quickness. He's mean as hell, and he's going to move people out of the way. I think one of the things where you can prolong a Tom Brady's career is have continue to put pieces up front to protect him.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's how you extend his career for another couple of years. But I do think we're going to see Tom Brady in Miami at some point very soon. I do. I think it's not going to be this year. But those rumors that came out, I don't think it was all just talk. I do think that before he retires, we see him at some point in Miami. So I don't think this is the last year. I think we see him maybe another 2 or 3 years because he is going to make his way down to Miami and that is the team I don't want to see. I'll be honest with you. Tom Brady with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and Mike Gesicki. Like, that's just not a team I want to see. So, yeah. Okay. Back on Green Bay.
All right. Now, Green Bay, they're going to be going receiver here. The issues that we have, Christian Watson is too old for their player profile, how they normally end up going with guys. They have not drafted guy who was even 22 years of age until Eric Stokes last year. Otherwise, the past 5 years, they've drafted players who are 21 or younger at the time of the draft. Even though his dad played guard for the Packers way back in the day, Watson's not on the board. Sky Moore, going to be too small for us right now at the moment. We already have guys that we're trying to work between between Randall Cobbs, and we're trying to bring along Amari Rodgers. Not going to go that route. So with this pick, I will end up going with Treylon Burks. He falls slightly outside of the normal trends they have in the sense that we didn't get a speed rating on him, but he still has a decent athletic score. When it comes down to what he ends up doing, though, is he ends up winning at the point at the high points of the ball. The point he ends up making on the ball at its highest point is unrivaled. He also has that classic way of creating separation after the ball has left the quarterback's hand, which, after all, when you have Aaron Rodgers, you'd love to have a guy who's not open until the very last second. I think that falls within their profile. He can still end up as a big slot if they want to as well, with the talks of Darren Waller possibly coming along. The idea is to install a bigger target anyway. And Burks at his size, at that 6'2", 225, again, while he ended up not having the best 40 time, he still said, check the tape, show me when I've been caught. He put on an utterly dominant performance against Alabama when he put up about 150 yards receiving that day against them, and they couldn't stop him on that. That was one of the times that Alabama almost ended up losing to an Arkansas team that had no business being there, minus just throwing it to Burks. The guy has massive hands. I think he's definitely the pick they would go with here, especially if they have to here, and the board is how it is.
Yeah. Okay. We like this pick, guys?
Yeah.
I do like it. Yeah.
All right. Now we got the double dip in Kansas City Chiefs coming in at 29 and 30.
You could take either one of these picks in whichever order we want to do it. But I think they address the need to try and quote unquote replace Tyreek Hill and give Mahomes some sort of weapon. I really like, and I might get grief again for this as well, but I like George Perkins. I think he's a big body receiver. I think he's tall. He's got really good potential, and he gives them another weapon outside of Kels. And so I think they go Perkins here, address the wide receiver need, and then for their next pick, I think they go with Ojabo. I think they address the edge and give the defense a little bit of help in trying to pressure some of the quarterbacks that they're going to have to face in the division.
Okay. So we got both picks there. How do we feel about those picks, Charles and Bryce?
I think those are good picks, man. Those are good picks.
Yep, completely agree. Ojabo's a good pass rusher, and Pickens, as much as you feel like you're going to get grief on it, we're falling into that tier of, if not for Pickens probably having a little bit of off field and having a little bit of a temper on field, a little bit too much, then I think honestly he would still end up moving up higher along the boards. And I think that's the only thing that had me disqualified him from Green Bay with Burks slightly. Otherwise, Pickens would have been the pick there. So I completely think it's a good pick.
And
Okay.
see, even with his off-field stuff, I think that the culture that they have there and the leadership in terms of like Kels and the players will help maintain that and kind of reel it in and show him how to be a true pro. Plus, Andy Reid is used to dealing with personalities. I mean, he had T.O. in Philly when T.O. was at prime T.O. So, there's something to be said about his management of player personalities and handling some of their off the field and on the field temperament.
First of all, T.O. wasn't the problem. Okay. My man came out and was a beast in the Super Bowl on a fractured leg. You don't talk bad about T.O.
I'm not talking bad about T.O.
I know you're not bashing T.O. I know. I just any guy that came through Buffalo like that, I got to show love. He was only with us 1 year. You had him for a good part of his prime.
Dallas had him for like 4 years.
Yeah, you had him for a good part of his prime. It had to be fun as a Cowboys fan.
That was my wide receiver.
Oh my God. All right, I got the Cincinnati Bengals. Just so I could clarify here, because I feel like we mentioned this guy, but I don't know if he was taken. Was Andrew Booth taken? Or did we just talk about him when we were talking about the Bills?
Yeah,
I have Booth going. I got Booth going here. And be honest with you, I have Cincinnati and the Bills as far as cornerback, their needs being the same, because I actually had either Kyler Gordon or Booth here. So I had the Bills going with Gordon. I got Cincinnati going Booth. I think their offseason, their free agency helped them solidify that offensive line. So they feel pretty good about that. I feel like they did what they had to do when it comes to, like, they already have like one of the best wide receiver tandems in the league. Like you can't complain much about the wide receivers out there. Can't complain about the running back. You can't. So I think that they're in a position that they think, you know what? Let's stop the other team from throwing the damn ball. So again, I think Booth is an obvious good pick here if he makes it to this point. And I think Cincinnati improves a little bit. And I think this is a great pick for them. I like him. I would like him in Buffalo, if not for Gordon.
I definitely agree. I think the only kind of caveat I could see to that, or alternative, is maybe Lewis Cine and shoring up their safeties, since they are bringing back Bates on a franchise deal, giving them a little bit of insurance to hopefully either work out the deal with Bates or maybe have a possible future if Cine can step into that role.
Yeah. How you feel, Bryce, about it?
Like I said, I like it. It's like I said, Cincinnati. I mean, like I said, they've done a lot to try and free up the offensive line, to get them improved through free agency. So secondary is definitely one of the next things that they want to try and end up making sure they have locked down. I mean, honestly, it's a solid pick. Like I said, seen as an option for that, as well as Hill or Petrie, as I have those other safeties on the board. I think honestly that'd be the way that they need to go, because their offense now looks like they're full charge ready. It's just making sure the little things on the defense, which even was a pretty good defense last year. All right, before we end up sounding like we're dismissing that, I think that's a good route for them to go though. Version.
All right. Well, let's move it on. We got the last pick of the draft here with the Detroit Lions, with a pick from the Los Angeles Rams. Who has Detroit? I think
I do. Yeah, why not round it out with Kenny Pickett? I think that's a guy, you get him. So you take Kenny Pickett here, you get that 5th year, right? So I think that gives you enough time to evaluate. And if you are in a position next year where you can take one of those top 4 guys, I think it's not, they could take a page out of Arizona's book, where they had Josh Rosen and they went and got Kyler Murray, right? So I think you as a GM, you should never be rested until you have a franchise quarterback, and they don't have that. So I think it's worth taking a late round pick on Kenny Pickett or trade back. And I think you could still get Kenny Pickett early in the 2nd round if that's your guy. But I'd roll the dice here. I think he's a guy, he's a mature guy. He's going to come in. I think he can, I think he could challenge Jared Goff. Jared Goff is he's biscuits. That boy biscuits. So I would totally go with Cody Pickett here. Kenny Pickett, sorry.
I mean, I definitely agree with you there, Sterling. If they're gonna go crazy and try and rely on Goff, that's just gonna end poorly. We've seen that. He kind of crumbles under pressure. They've got some really good wide receivers, so why not try and get somebody that can actually throw to them? I mean, Quintez Cephas is gonna be a beast. He had flashes of greatness even with Goff last year, so I think giving a quarterback to them either helps them improve this year or sets them up to pull in Arizona and draft QBs in consecutive years.
Now for me,
all right.
I was going to say how I feel at least on that is for the quarterback, I like the choice of a quarterback. I do like Matt Corral in this spot a little bit ahead of Kenny Pickett. And if for nothing else than the fact that when I was looking at some linebackers that I found comparable to Tremaine Edmonds, when I was looking at film, I ended up having to come across the fact when I watched and I looked up some old Tremaine film, seeing also how the college film compares. I was watching Kenny Pickett get tackled from him. Kenny Pickett's been playing for 5 years now in college football. All right. He's been around that long. So the question is he already at his ceiling? And if his ceiling is the 32 pick here in the NFL draft, are you going to see much growth? The thing I noticed from breaking down his film versus Corral's is that when Pickett makes mistakes, he doesn't make the same mistakes. So you can teach him to check down to the right and hit the number 2, and then randomly he'll panic and try and throw a dump off to the left. As opposed to Corral, you're seeing him make the same mistakes. So I think you could coach out when someone makes the same mistake, especially at the quarterback position, easier. That said, Pickett could still be a choice on here, and heck, the most likely option is that Detroit will probably move back since they could still use a little extra capital.
All right. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We went through the first round. This is officially the longest code of conduct that I've ever done. Longest one, but you know what? I did it with my guy, so it didn't feel that long. Sterls, thank you. Rick, thank you. Bryce, thank you. Let's go around real quick. Let everybody know where they can find you, where they can find your work. If you got anything special coming up, anything that you want to promote, and then we'll get on out of here. Let's start with Bryce.
Like I said, I'm still writing over at fffaceoff.com. We have our big mental health podathon that we're starting to gear up towards. I got some more articles I've been doing involving some prospects dropping out, and as well as I'm starting to go into some salary cap stuff involving the 2023 and 2024 season. How can it end up affecting your dynasty football team? So go ahead and get ready to catch that in about a week or so when that ends up dropping. Like I said, you can always find me on Twitter at BryceNFL.
For the record, I'm winning our league this year. Like TSL got us in Dynasty last year. She got us all. Rick thinks he has a chance. Is no chance in hell. I'm just telling you. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. But Rick, why don't you let everybody know where they can find you, what your socials are? Oh wait, did you mention Bryce? What your socials are? I'm sorry, that quick.
Yeah. No, I already dropped the tag.
Okay, Rick, next.
Yeah, so I'm just RamHusky7 on Twitter and pretty much every social media platform. Don't have anything in the works currently, but I am going to be working with Spence over the next couple of months to see if we can kind of grow the community here and maybe do a couple more of these pods for our Dynasty League and get a fantasy show going with Bryce and myself.
Yeah, let's get it. Let's get it. My man Sterling for the girls, newest member of that Buffalo Rumblings podcast and video network. What's going on with you, man? What you got coming up?
Well, you can find me here on Buffalo Rumblings, man. You can find me also on Twitter at Furrowh Sterling. I have a show dropping on Sunday. It's called Intentional Grounding. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be a lot of fun, but I'm happy to be here on the Rumblings, man.
All right. And then y'all gonna have some special content coming from me tomorrow night in Vegas, Thursday night in Vegas, Friday night in Vegas. I'm gonna try to get y'all into that Ice Cube concert too. I'm gonna try to really hold y'all down. I'm gonna do some things. And then coming back next week after the draft, I'm so excited for the code of conduct. We got John Fina joining me. We are gonna be talking about the game that I can't let go of. That doggone Music City Miracle. John Fina played in the game. Was it a lateral? Was it not? We're going to talk about it. We're going to ask him how many nights of sleep he lost over that. Then the next week after that, I got my man Zach Moss in town. He's going to be kicking it with me. We're going to talk a lot about just his expectations for this upcoming season. What does it mean when people say the game finally slowed down for him in his third year? When he hears that, what does it mean to him? Is the game going to slow down? What is his expectations for this season? How is he going to do? And y'all know how I do it over here. It's your boy, JSpenceTheKing. I love y'all. Y'all take care of each other. Y'all love each other and live in peace. And as always, stay positive, test negative. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Y'all can say it. Y'all know. Come on. Y'all can say it.
You can say it.
Go Bills.
Go Bills. I'd cheer for the Bills on this. Come on. Come with the music.
Code of conduct.